three. In third place for Great Britain, David Doel. In its second place for Great Britain, Oliver Townend. And leading the way still for New Zealand is Tim Price. And joining us also is today's course designer, actually year's course designer. He definitely had something to do with the course. Derek DeGrazia of the United States of America. And I'm going to start with you, Derek. Second year here, microphone in front of you. Do you feel you've settled in?
I certainly feel a bit more comfortable, and so it's been a good year for me in the build, and yes, I do.
And how do you feel compared to this moment last year? I think you went away going, there's a couple of things I want to change. Do you feel you've succeeded in what you wanted to achieve in year two?
Yes, absolutely. And I think the course was quite different from last year, and so when you have changes like that throughout a course, you obviously don't know going into today how it's actually going to shake out. You have an idea, but you don't know. And so at the end of the day today, I think we still know that it's hard to make the time at Burghley, that we still know that the ground has an influence here, and also I think we know that there also were some great rides today, and I think it was good sport today, good competition, great watching the horses go around, and obviously it made you realize if you just made that little bit of an error that it was probably going to end up with something happening, probably not what you wanted to happen.
Are there any fences going to the course builder's yard for tonight's bonfire?
No.
No? And what challenges, what questions were you most pleased with the way they played out?
That's a hard one. I like to sort of think back sort of after the day and sort of really think about that. But I think there were a number of challenges throughout the course, and some that I think for the most part rode really well throughout the day, and you probably saw maybe no problems at those fences. But at the same time, they were jumps, combinations that they had to ride, and it was part of the whole cumulative effect of the course. And I think that there was the questions that came early on, and I think that they had to answer those questions to end up sort of to get into the middle and the upper part of the course, and I think that was a big part of it as well. So, but I think in the end you also have the endurance aspect of the course, and I thought that for the most part I thought the horses were quite good finishing today, and that's really important to me to see that.
We'll pass the microphone on. We'll bring it right down this other end to David Doel, who joins us for the first time, I think, this week. And you've done it in fine style. One of just two clear inside the time with Galileo and Numu. Congratulations. Tell us about that ride. Was it expected?
Yeah, no, look, he's had great 5-star form. He's a lovely galloping horse, and he gallops so easily across the ground. He turned really well. Probably a little bit more of a fiddly course for him. He's got quite a big stride and sort of like really likes to open up. So the twists and turns, I wasn't really sure how he would take it. He just felt a little bit tired, sort of coming off the dairy mound, but picked up really nicely, sort of coming home, and his last couple of jumps he gave me a super feel.
Is it Galileo though, or is it you? Because we saw you with Ferro Point as well. You had a little bit of a blip at the leaf pit and still came in only 10 time penalties. So are you a naturally quick rider? Do you have a bit of an X factor to add to your horse?
I think sort of like it's been a lot of years of work, and it's been a real team effort over the years, and we've made some mistakes and learned from them, and made mistakes today and we'll learn from them again, and so it's a ever sort of evolving sort of picture really, and I like going quickly. Don't get me wrong, it is good fun, but I'm very lucky. I've got two lovely horses there at the moment that you can sit on top of and let jump underneath you, and they gave me super rides.
What surprised you out there, if anything? What came up a little bit different to how it walked?
I think just the Burghley terrain, it really did. I think just sort of sap it out to them a little bit. They both sort of got to that probably sort of 9-10 minute mark, and both sort of felt that little bit tired, which neither of them really have over the last little while. So it was sort of just really interesting to have that sort of feel, and especially Ferro Point as she came through the water at the end. My plan was to jump the fish, and she just sort of completely emptied on me. So I went and jumped the house sort of at the Lion Bridge instead. But no, he galloped really well and picked up well. So I definitely didn't.
And confident going into tomorrow that you can hold your score, you hope?
Yeah, we'll make sure they trot up well tomorrow morning, and then want to put some pressure on these two, and and then hopefully we'll see you here at 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Oliver will tell you precious for tyres.
You get champagne in that one too.
Not water.
Well, it's not guaranteed. Oliver, let's finish on the high. Let's finish on Thomas. So just remind us, for those who didn't catch up, what the rest of your day was like with Tregilder and Swallow Springs. Come on, you're here. We just sort of need to put it on the record, as it were. Sorry.
Yeah, well, both horses are home and in one piece. They've had a great day. One's done 7 minutes and one's done 8 minutes and jogged all the way home with a smile on their faces. At the Winners Avenue on the first horse, I went to turn right over the second element, the log, and all of a sudden everything felt very loose, and off I went behind the trees, and a rein had snapped. A new pair of reins this year, but there we go. We'll have words with whoever made those. And he gave me a great ride until then. I felt that I was almost ahead of the clock. The interesting thing for me, from what myself and Tim were just discussing, I felt the ground was slower the more the day went on. But Tregilder was very happy, and for me, bang there really, and feel very sorry for the owners that have been with me years and years to wait for a special result, hopefully at Burghley, and not get it. But he's done 7 minutes, so hopefully he'll reroute. Swallow Springs was a little bit all over the place, very excited as he can be and as he is, and he sort of runs in fits and starts. And basically, I didn't get the shot that I wanted up the hill to the Oxer. We caught the back of it. He had a pin, and that was the end of that. So I thought, oh, here we go again. 12 months ago, I sort of left Burghley, having hit the floor twice, not really feeling like we did too much wrong. So it was good that the third one was there too. Good old Mr. Reliable.
Yeah, exactly. The good old comfortable armchair, Ballamore class. Tell me about how your round felt. A couple of time penalties, but he's just there for you all the time, isn't he?
Oh, he's a different thing altogether, isn't he? I mean, he just makes me feel very, very comfortable and calm, and like you say, I feel like putting an old pair of shoes on when I get on him. He's very, very special. We've known each other from day one, and he's definitely not showing his age. I mean, he's very keen. Going down to the fence 5, the rail and ditch, he was pretty much away with me. The very last stride was the shortest stride he took before the rail, and that was the first time that I was nearly in control. He's got a great open stride, and he loves to open his stride, but once he's open, closing it again is a little bit of a tricky job. But he's my hero and horse of a lifetime probably, and he's done it again for me.
You rhapsodise slightly about Derek de Grazia. It's one of the reasons you went for so many years to Land Rover Kentucky as well, as to jump Derek tracks. But inevitably they walk and the line is there, and then they ride a little bit tougher. We were all talking, this looked a little bit more rideable, it felt a little bit more rideable. Did it come through that way?
No, I felt that early on was probably a little slacker than normal. Like there was, space between the two oxes in the arena. Everything was very smooth and la-di-da-di-da. And again, I had a little bit of a misser at fence 2 with Ballamore class, and I thought that'll do neither of us any harm, because it's all just felt very smooth very early on and very easy. and Ballamore class opened his stride as he went out the arena and didn't want to close it again before the rail and ditch. So I feel that this course lulled you in and let you get into it a little bit more, but then kind of shocked you a little bit by the time you got in the middle and opened your eyes and really made sure that you knew you were at Burghley.
Thank you, Oliver. Let's hear from Tim. Tim, you are just out in front. I think it's 2.3 penalties in front of Oliver as things currently stand going into the final day. You've got to be pleased as punch with Vitali there.
Absolutely, he's shown his class again. It didn't feel like the horse I've had around a couple of other prominent 5-stars, including this place last year. Although my approach was very different last year. He was a first timer here. But for whatever reason, the ground that Oliver's mentioned, or the time of day, or the lack of the British Open, which is I think quite a key pre-run for this, he just wasn't really up in front of me and galloping the way that I've become accustomed to him doing. But the class, he just kept very tidy with his action and his jump, and kept trying in his own way. He was pushing, he was trying, he was galloping. For the day, I think he tried very, very hard. Probably, excelled from where he was standing.
It's interesting that you say that, because it must be just such a marginal feeling on the gallop, because he never looked behind you or not with you for the jumping. He was always there. It was a great round.
Yeah, no, it was. I just know what it takes to be beautifully inside the time like this guy, and I wasn't feeling like that was going to be available to me early on, and also the job is so difficult with the fences that you don't want to have a setback. I had one hairy moment at the Irish Bank where we got up and over and clambered around, and we're lucky to be standing on the other side. But if I had had something like that happen earlier in the course, I think maybe the momentum would have come away from us, and it could have been quite a different outcome. But luckily he tried very hard on all the fences. We met them well, and we had the right momentum into the fences to get the job done, and we were able to carry that all around the course.
We'll get you through the horse inspection in the morning, then what's the tactic? What's the build-up then to coming into the arena last?
It's Eric Tabando, when he was with the Kiwis, he always said, it's a great position because they will wait for you, and you'll have more and more space to yourself. So in a way, the warm-up becomes calmer and more not relaxed. That's probably definitely not the word I'd use, but
Not when David Doel's barging into you before he goes in.
all the applause that's going on from the clear rounds before me, from these two guys, I'm sure. But it's just about going through the processes and believing in your preparation and believing in your horse and believing in yourself. So it's just the usual stuff, and I'm just really happy to be in a position to have that opportunity.
Thank you, all of you. Are there any questions from the media? Yes, Amy.
David, after your dressage score, were you confident of a top 3 placing after cross country, or is this something that you would set your mind to?
No, I mean, we always had a plan. I'm slightly disappointed with the dressage mark, because I actually thought he sort of did one of his best tests. But no, we just came out, to jump clear round and aim to have a country round inside the time, and we did that, and it's definitely caused, as Burghley does, a lot of problems. We were sat there in the lead for quite a long time. So yeah, no, I think we probably are more expecting to sort of sit somewhere sort of in the top 10 somewhere. So yeah, no, it's great to be here. With these guys.
Yeah, I freely admit we saw those two go clear inside the time. Myself, Tina Cook, Janelle Price were on the commentary. We all went, so that probably means it's going to be 6 to 8 inside the time today. You only 2, and there you end up in the top 3. That's the Burghley X factor, isn't it? Any more for any more? This room.
And Derek, were there any surprises for you? Any fences that were very differently to what you expected?
I think that the one fence I think that probably had more faults than I expected was at the leaf pit, the angled brush coming out, and but other than that, I think that the combinations were there, and there were certainly ways through them, and for the most part, I think that most of the riders did a great job, and everything looked good. But at the same time, you also are going to have those that just might have that bit of an error, and so they're going to pick up a 20, and that happened in various places throughout the course. I mean, other than I think Ben 7, I think that everything else sort of rode probably as I thought it may ride.
Thank you.
Tim, Vitali has, I don't sort of top of my head, so forgive me if I get wrong, 56% for blood.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Thereabouts. And the general rule of thumb, although some call it countryside myth, is that 5-star horses need 70% blood. What are your thoughts on that?
It's such a diverse sport these days. We have a lot of different 5 stars to work our way through, and I'm not one to hold a horse back based on its percentage of blood. If it wants to be a Burghley horse, then I will allow it to be a Burghley horse. He's proven that to me that he's a proper 5-star horse, which is by definition a Burghley horse. And I think it's a lot to do with how we train them and prepare them and all those things and ride them around these courses. I've got a great little horse called Falco who won Poe. He's 28% blood. I don't know if I'll bring him here, but he's got a great use. And so I don't know really how to answer your question. They do. I mean, more blood is great with, you know, in terms of what you're looking at as a potential top level event horse. But we've got so many different ways. We would like a bit of diversity in our string, I think, to deal with all the different things from a championship to a flat 5-star to a Burghley, Badminton, Kentucky. So it's nice just to have a bit of a cross section.
Well, I think, Oliver, I'm right in saying we don't know very much about the dam side of Alamo class, so officially he's about 28%, because it could be Connemara Pony in there.
Great sire, though.
Good sire.
Good sire. Sire gets the trip, father of Ringwood Skyboy, and yeah, I think she was, you know what the Irish lot are like. She was either by I'm a star or something else. Blood.
Temple Brady Farboy, the Connemara Pony sign, yeah. We're very pleased to have the Irish Horse Board as sponsors once again. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd just like to thank Derek for coming along tonight, and also would like to offer our congratulations, of course, to our top 3, David Doel, Oliver Townend, Tim Price.